So for this week's main topic, as we mentioned earlier, we did need to pivot a little bit on how we were going to approach this week. But Michelle, as she always does, came up with a brilliant idea of doing something involving the Disney resorts. And we kind of decided to do it something kind of similar to what we did last week with our Disney Sidekick Showdown, where we were going to pick out kind of aspects of each resort and have us discuss what is our favorite resort that kind of fits that question or aspect or whatever it is about it. And obviously we're not talking about necessarily the best. It's all very relative. You know, it's what is our personal favorites resort to fill that bill. Right.
Yeah. I mean, so it's kind of like, your favorite Disney resort for, and we'll pull something out of a hat. So let's say, best eatery or something. And I know that's not exactly one of them, but something like that. And then we would each, give our selection and kind of explain, debate, or banter about why.
Yeah. So again, we wanted to do another fun topic. It's been an interesting week, to say the least. So we wanted to do something very fun. And I think this is very fun. It's all something we can relate to. Disney resorts. We all love Disney resorts. So this is something that you could play along with too, again, at home, or in your car or wherever you're listening to us, and kind of, what resort would be your favorite for each. So again, there are no wrong answers here. It's what's favorite for you personally as we go through it. Right, Michelle?
Right. And, hopefully too, we might be able to share some things that you might not know about a resort that could be a real gem in making you and helping you make a decision whether to stay at one of the particular resorts.
So I don't know, how many are we going to choose here? We're going to pick out of the hat. We've got a lot of different possibilities here.
I don't know, you want to try 5 and see,
We'll start with 5 and see how long it takes us, and then we'll go through and see if we want to add a few more on, but we'll start with 5.
Or if after 3 we realize
Why don't
we've
we
gone...
do 6? That way we're each picking 3 out of the hat here. And we'll do 6 and then we'll go from there. Okay?
All right.
So Michelle, you pick first out of the hat here. What's your question, scenario, whatever it might be?
Okay. Which of the Disney resorts has the most beautiful walking or jogging paths?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Should I answer first on this one?
Yeah, why don't you answer first?
This one's a really easy. I mean, there's a lot of great walking and jogging paths throughout the various Disney resorts, and you'll find maps that if you want to go do these things, you can find them everywhere. Some people like to get their exercise out. Some people are, hey, I'm going to walk for miles in the parks. I don't need to do any extra walking in the resorts, but some people like to get up and do some exercise in the morning or just get out and explore the resort. My favorite personally is going to be Fort Wilderness. Just because it's that whole outdoor area. There's some great pathways through as you go through the different loops that are various either cabins or campgrounds, RV parking spaces or whatever. But there's just some easy places that just kind of go through these outdoor spaces and many trees, and you might see some different wildlife when you're out there, and it's just really nice. There's a lot of shade because of a lot of the trees that are there. It's a really, really nice space to go out for a walk or a run in the morning, and I really, really enjoy. I mean, if we're staying there and we have enough days there, I will definitely make an extra effort to go and do a run through that space.
Yeah, it really is amazingly beautiful. And I have some really fond memories too. I remember in particular with my mother, we were out there one time, and she and Scott and I went for a walk around there, and just having that memory with her there was really special. But I agree with you. It is a spectacular place. It's also great location, same kind of reasoning to rent a bike, or if you're traveling with a bike, that you can go around and see some beautiful areas.
Yeah, even if you don't want to get the supreme exercise and run or whatever, just walking around that area is really, really nice. So that's why I picked that. What do you think, Michelle?
I totally agree with you on that one. Another one that I think has a lot of beautiful areas to walk around and see. I could name multiple resorts, but Port Orleans, I think, has some beautiful locations to walk around. I mean, they pull in that New Orleans theme really nicely. As you're walking around close to the resort areas, you get the vibe of, the French Quarters and the
Riverside.
area. They're a little bit different, but you a lot of times too, you can even hear the music nearby. But even as you wander a little bit further away from the actual resort, to have those beautiful trees and the scenario of feeling like you're in the countryside in New Orleans, and just old Southern charm to it, and it is really beautiful there.
Nice. Yeah, we've stayed there a few times and have really enjoyed our time at Port Orleans. We don't get there anymore, really, because we usually use our DVC points, not a DVC resort, but still is a great space for sure.
Yeah.
Great place to walk around.
I mean, it really is also so pretty that they also have horse-drawn carriage rides that you can pay to in that area as well. So it really is spectacular and beautiful. And another fun thing you can do, whether you're staying on property there or you're not staying there and you want to take that opportunity to go over and check it out. And while you're there, you can have some cool beignets. But
As they do. They also have the horse-drawn carriage rides over at Fort Wilderness, my choice as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that just tells you about both their grounds, the fact that they want you to go and explore them in different ways.
Right.
Possibilities. So very good choice.
Yeah,
Very good choice.
likewise,
All right,
sweetie.
back into the hat for the next one. Here, let's get this one out. And this one says, best value for amenities. Michelle, you start off with this one. What resort has the best values? What Disney resort has the best value for amenities?
That's a really good question. Really good one. And I'm not reading this as just like a value resort. However, I do think the value resorts, such as the All-Star Sports and All-Star Music, do give you the best value for the amenities just because of how they utilize the space in the room. So you do have, you have the bedding, but one of the beds actually folds up. So what is you're left with is actually a table, so a seating area. So it does free it up during the day or during the mornings as you're getting ready to have a little bit more space for people to walk around and get ready, and not have two beds just consuming the entire room area. And so I do think that, and yet they still provide, the little kitchenette area, I guess you call it. It doesn't have as many amenities, but it does have, the coffee and refrigerator. So I think that is a good value that you get in those resorts for this.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think their food courts are excellent as well. There's a wide variety of food there, all in one location. Right. I mean, you don't get the benefit of a table service restaurant there. I do think that your whole family can find amazing food at the value resorts. And then, yes, the various different pools, the various different decor out there as you're walking around and exploring the resort. I do find them wonderful and excellent and a good value on amenities. I'll just go slightly different here, but although I agree with you, just to kind of have something as a different viewpoint, I'm going to go with Caribbean Beach Resort as mine, because I feel like one, it's the moderate feel, but you also, I'm going to talk more side amenities with the fact that like you have the Skyliner there and you have that benefit of that extra transportation ability to get to Disney's Hollywood Studios, get to Epcot. I think that's really significant, bumps up its amenity value. Plus, they have some really good dining establishments within it. Wonderful pool. It's got some great views off of it. I think it's really, considering it's a moderate, so you're paying more than you are at the value resorts. I feel like it's a high level moderate.
Right.
Almost bumping to a deluxe because there are so many great. The only thing is it's so spread out. But other than that, it really does have some benefits to it over some of the other moderates.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually kind of thought you were going to go back to Fort Wilderness because I think similar to what you're saying with the Caribbean Beach is that the cabins at Fort Wilderness offer you a lot of great amenities at the price of a moderate resort.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I just can't go Fort Wilderness with everything. I want to kind of spread it out a little bit. Fort Wilderness also excellent spot.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Good choice.
I mean, yeah.
All right, back into the hat. What's next, Michelle?
All right, let's see here. Best seasonal decorations.
Oh, wow. It depends on your vibe. What are you looking for? Are you looking for classic, more kind of Victorian Christmas? Or are you looking for more of a kind of a rustic Christmas type feel? Or, I mean, you can even talk about, something more of a kind of African stylized. I mean, they have some really good decorations there too. I think for me, in my vibe, I'm going to go with Wilderness Lodge because I love the rustic feel from that lobby, from the decorations. That is probably, if I'm going to only be able to hit one resort to look at the decorations, that's probably the one I'm going to pick. But there are so many amazing ones that makes it's a really tough decision to figure out. But that would be my favorite.
Right. I agree. And I think for this one, it's kind of like our top 5 music. It's like, what is it right at this moment today or whatever? Because I agree with you. I do think that the Wilderness Lodge, when you walk in there once they have their holiday decorations up, it's a wow experience right from the start when you walk in. It's so amazingly beautiful and stunning. It's similarly like when you walk into the Grand Floridian, it's just amazingly stunning. But I think I am going to actually, and I'm kind of going between 2 here in my mind, but I think, can I use Port Orleans again?
Sure.
Can we use a resort twice?
It's not like last week's Sidekick Showdown where you eliminated. You can't use it again. You can use whatever one you want.
I've stayed at Port Orleans during the holiday times and just loved it. I love the look, because even though they're bringing in holiday ornaments and wreaths and things, the color schemes that they do are ones that translate like to Mardi Gras, and it is beautiful and unique, and it's just charming, and I just loved it so completely that I felt very immersed into that culture, and yet still felt very holiday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really a wrong.
Right.
There is no wrong answer here. It's what you prefer,
Right.
and I think that there's so many amazing decor-filled resorts on Disney property. Port Orleans is fantastic. It's a great example. You were mentioning the Grand Floridian. That's the one I struggled with, but not almost picking, because it just depends on the vibe you want. If you want more of a classical, like I said, Victorian, just really ornate, beautiful holiday decorations, like you're going into that lobby and seeing their tree and their gingerbread house and everything. It's like, it is so upscale and wonderful and nice. To me, I picked the Wilderness Lodge because it feels like a warm blanket when you
Right.
go in there, and kind of, it's just so comforting to see their decorations. But I was also mentioning over at Jumbo at Animal Kingdom Lodge, how their decorations, I feel like not enough people get out because it's so far off the path to get out there and see their decorations as well. But even like the Polynesian, some of their more Melakalikimaka type theme,
Right.
Is really nice. Yacht and Beach Club.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, the carousel gingerbread. I mean, it's so nice. I mean, there is really something for everybody.
Yes, the Beach Club was actually the one that I was struggling between that one and New Orleans, because I kind of put them on the same level of enjoyment. Not that they are similar, but yes, the Beach Club brings in that New England feel, but it has a working carousel that is gingerbread, gingerbread horses, and they do different stylings or themes each year of what the carousel is going to be. But it is really amazing and beautiful, and they all have a little something. But I think Beach Club is also one of those ones with the more ornate and beautiful type of experience for you.
Right. Well, one thing I'll say about this is that, it's always a good time on your Disney vacation, your Walt Disney World vacation, to do a day of just resort hopping and check things out. But if you were not doing it during the holiday season, you were doing your vacation a disservice, because there are so many diverse and amazing holiday decorations throughout the variety of resorts. And we haven't even touched on all of them.
Right.
I mean, they all do something nice. And so if you're not taking a day to just kind of go and explore those resorts, again, I feel like you're selling your holiday vacation a little bit short and everything you can get out of it. So please find a way to make a day out of it where you can kind of just do that and enjoy it. And we didn't even talk, again, going back to Fort Wilderness.
I was just about to say that.
What the actual guests, how they decorate their various lots throughout it and how amazing that is. That's other entities, not even Disney doing it, just what they do to make it extra special for the holiday season.
Yeah, that one, it's over the top. Amazing. Yes.
For sure. All right, back to it. For me, my turn this time. Let me dig deeply into this hat and pull out. Which one's this one this time? What are we talking about as we talk about favorites from Walt Disney World Resorts? I like this one. Best views to sit on your balcony with your morning coffee. Which Disney resort has the best views to sit on your balcony with your morning coffee? Michelle, you go ahead and start this one off.
All right. Gosh, there are tons of them. Which one will I narrow down? I guess I'm going to have to narrow it down to Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah.
I think, especially if all their views are really great for a different reason. But I think our particular favorite is if we get a lake view on the side where we can actually also watch the monorail
through the contemporary.
It's just kind of fun to sit on the balcony there. You get to look kind of towards your left and just see the lake and watching some of the boats bringing people from Fort Wilderness to the parks. And like I said, then on the other side, you can see the contemporary resort and the monorail coming through it. It's just, you just know you're at Disney, but also with some mixture of calmness there as well. I love, love, love that view.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That is definitely one of our favorites, if not our favorite. And again, this is all another relative thing. Is like it's a little bit of the luck of the draw of where you get placed within the resorts. You can request some things, but there's no guarantees when you request where your room's going to be situated exactly, other than, depending on what you purchase, whether you get a standard view, a lake view, a theme park view, wherever it might be, depending on what resort you're staying in. Other than that, it's a little bit of luck of where you get placed. But if we get a good view or a good spot up high in Bay Lake Towers, where, like you said, we get a good view of the lake and we can watch some of the boats maybe maneuvering around there, watch some of the dock activity, plus have the contemporary there on the side with the monorail coming and going. It's pretty spectacular and hard to beat. That would probably be my favorite. I'm going to go ahead, since you've already mentioned that, and say maybe my next one would be a lake view or a theme park view at the Polynesian Resort, because that is really nice with the ferry going back and forth, and you can see all of Magic Kingdom there in the background, and just sitting out there. And I think we really enjoyed it. Like it was our first trip back to Walt Disney World when COVID was going on, and we spent many mornings there because that was open. The DVC area was open. The rest of the resort was closed at that time, but that was open. And just memories of getting up in the morning and us sitting out there, having some coffee, hearing the ferry warm up and the horn going. And it was just such a nice, comforting feeling to be back at a Disney resort again and just enjoying that whole situation.
Completely agree. And, even at the Poly, if you don't get a lake view, you get a view of the gardens. They're spectacular as well. And, going back to Bay Lake Tower, same kind of concept. If you don't get a lake view where you can see the contemporary, on the other side of the resort, there's lake views that are also much more serene lake views, but you also get to see a little bit of
the partial theme park view.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the theme park view is pretty cool because you're getting to see, the theme park, you're getting to see Magic Kingdom, and you also in the distance get to see the beautiful view of Grand Floridian Resort.
Yeah, some of Seven Seas Lagoon.
So, I think they all have, yes, we have our favorite view, but they all have spectacular fun views there to sit out and enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning before your day really starts to go.
Agreed. There are many great views that we've enjoyed. We've been able to stay with DVC points over the Grand Floridian at their villas there. and have enjoyed that. We've had some fantastic views when we've been lucky to stay at the Riviera. We had one time where it wasn't great, but we've had other times where
Right.
they've been really great, that we've actually been able to like see some of the fireworks from Epcot and everything. And those are great. I mean, that's not morning, but still really, really nice.
Yes. Also, going back to Fort Wilderness, if the weather is cool enough and you can go sit out on the little patio there and have your coffee there, and it just feels very serene.
Yeah, very calming, very
Yes.
soothing, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, back into the hat, Michelle. Next
It's my
one.
turn. All right. Oh, I got two here. Hold on. All right. Favorite spot to pretend you've taken a far away, unique journey.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. There's so many great ones. I guess I would have to go, and it just makes sense to be at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. We've not stayed at Jumbo yet. We have a Jumbo stayed coming up here. We've visited the lobby, and that's wonderful. And it feels like you've traveled to a distant land, a distant African, Asian, whatever it might be area. We've stayed at Kidani many times, but I'll go because even though the lobby isn't as amazing as it is at Jumbo, it's pretty cool. But then when you get to be, especially if you get a Savannah view, and you're out there on your balcony and you see the animals there just right off your balcony, it does feel like you're somewhere else in a different space in the world. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many, and I feel bad continuing to use a lot of DVC ones, but I do think they do a great view.
Well, I mean, even though we
a
stay at their
great
DVC,
experience.
that you don't have to use. You can either rent DVC points
Sure.
and stay there, or you can actually pay cash and go there. Yeah.
Right. I have stayed. I guess I'm gonna have two, but so the first one I'll say is DVC. It's the Riviera, because it does
I
have
can
that
see that, yeah.
European flair to it. It's not all French, but it has those aspects, but other Italian, and you just get a blend of your feel from there, and I think it gives you that immersive feeling at times. But I actually have to say, and I know I'm using Port Orleans a lot today.
Maybe we need to stay at Port Orleans again.
Yeah,
because,
it's been a
man,
while.
you
I used
really
to stay
enjoyed it,
there
yeah.
a fair amount of time, but I do remember on a short trip, just going there and feeling like I was transported. And I didn't do a lot at the time of going into the parks. I think I was going to some classes. So, but when I was in the resort area, I just tried to feel totally immersed into that Southern charm that they provide there. And the food, everything about the environment just supported that.
Well, if we do that add-on, that DVC add-on,
There you go, yeah.
Where it's $99 for the year. Part of it is waiving the $95 service charge. You can use your points at any of these resorts that aren't DVC resorts, but you have a $95 service charge. Part of that deal is that you get that waived. So maybe that we will at some point use our points at Port Orleans. It seems like you need to get back there.
Apparently,
we may
so
have
I
to
didn't
really start
realize
thinking
that.
about that. Yeah. That's so funny. That's so
know.
funny. Okay, let's get into the hat. I think this probably will be the last one for this time. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
We'll do this again. It's another fun one that I think there's a lot to hit on here. So the last one this is a good one. The last one for our Disney resorts, our favorites from Walt Disney World resorts.
Or it could have been Disneyland, actually, too. Disney resorts.
We could do Disney some more point. I just did Walt Disney World for this. I think there's much more diversity in Walt Disney World resorts. But so this one is your favorite hotel bar or lounge for hanging out with friends. Which Disney resort has your favorite hotel bar or lounge for hanging out with friends?
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's a tough one because there's a lot of good ones there. I'm going to go back to the Wilderness Lodge, where their lounge inside of there,
The Territory Lounge.
Territory Lounge, thank you, is just real. It's small, but it is just kind of warm and inviting, and their menu options are great. that they have a lot of interesting small plates. It's not just your typical bar fare. They have some interesting cocktails, but they also have your traditional, whatever your traditional favorite cocktails could be, and wine selection is great. And I think it's not overly lively, that you could have a conversation and hang out with folks there.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think that's more, for me personally, I like that one more as an intimate, maybe two couples or just you as a couple or whatever, because it is a smaller space and everything.
Sure.
But I love that lounge. That lounge is one of our favorites for sure. So definitely a great choice. I will also stay with the Wilderness Lodge for my choice, but I'm going to go outside and go to Geyser Point, which I think is great, especially if you have a larger group get together. It's an open air space, so you can get a little louder and it's not as big a deal. And they have good food, good drinks, and you've got great views over there and of Bay Lake and the whole surrounding area. And I just feel like it has a cool, fun, interesting vibe to get together with friends, with family, and just enjoy yourselves outdoors when it's not too ridiculously hot anyway, and just have a good time.
Yeah, that is a good one. I love how they have the couches too. So if you're in a larger party, you can have some just comfortable seating as well. Yeah, I think, one other that I was also thinking to mention was over at, again, at the Poly, at the terrace, the Trader Sam's terrace. So if you can't outdoor portion of it, it's, you still feel like you're within the Polynesian theme. They have somebody playing live music there, and it's a kind of fun place as well.
Right. And it's not, obviously it's not as difficult to get into. I mean, it's not as special as getting into actually Trader Sam's itself, but you still get the nice cocktails. You can still get the nice appetizers without the extra enchanted portion of it. And yes, like you said, they often, most of the time, have somebody there playing some Hawaiian Polynesian themed music, and it is a good vibe, and it is outdoor, and it's nice. And I don't disagree with you in that regard.
Right. A more upscale location too would be over at the Grand Floridian at the Enchanted Rose. They have different areas there, different theming, and that has also a nice, but like I said, a little bit more upscale feel to it that you could explore and enjoy.
And another place, if we're going to be completely DVC bougie, is our top of the world Villain's Lair, which we've enjoyed going up with friends many, many times and having a great time up there. But that is not something that most people can get into. So, I'm just bringing it up in passing more than anything else. Sometime, friends, if you want to go up there with us, where we send out regular invitations for people to go out there and share in that. So hope to have you come with us at some point. But again, not most people, if you're not a DVC member, you're not going to probably get the chance very often to get up there. So just wanted to add that in because it's one of our favorites.
Right.
May not be one of your favorites.
Yeah. Sure. Another one that has really nice views, but we really haven't gone there. We've seen it. We've gone out to look at it, but we haven't actually had cocktails there. But over at the Riviera, at the top of the Riviera, Topolino's, they have an outdoor
really nice lounge up there.
That
we've dined in the restaurant, but we've not done the lounge.
Right. We've just gone out and peeked out to see what it's like.
But it looks really nice. Yeah. And up there for fireworks as well.
Right.
And, good space. Good space. All excellent choices, all fantastic choices. We'd love to know what your favorites are for some of these categories we talked to. Oh yeah, that's right. We before we get done with this segment, we're just going to tell you what is our overall favorite Disney resort to stay and why. Just across the board. We're taking all these things that we've already discussed and maybe some other things that are in the hat that we didn't bring up. What is our favorite Disney resort to stay in and why? Michelle, start going.
Yeah, and the way I looked at this overall one was just kind of like if you could only pick one, which one would it go to, which is a struggle. But I think if I could only pick one, I would like to stay at Bay Lake Tower, preferably a 1-bedroom. Because of the space.
Because we're bougie.
Yes. Well, and because of the space and the layout, but the views you get, the floor to ceiling window views and still have also the patio or veranda to go out on. And I love the amenities. I love the ease of getting to walk to Magic Kingdom and back and not have to take the monorail the entire loop, although I guess coming back, you only do one stop. But just a lot of conveniences, a lot of beautiful sights, and you get the intimacy of the DVC Bay Lake Tower portion, but you also right there have all the excitement and fun that you can experience at the Contemporary that they offer there. Great food, whether you're looking at quick service options or you can have some really amazing dining locations there as well. And you can actually have their Steakhouse 71 to go, so you can have more elevated food if you don't want to go into the restaurant itself and bring it back to your room. So I think it offers so many options, so many great views. It's just kind of like a perfect location.
Agreed. It's probably our favorite DVC resort, and especially if Scott's with us, because of the fact that it has a lot of times a little extra room, even in the studios. But we'll often, when he's with us, splurge a bit more with our DVC points and go get a 1-bedroom, and then there's a ton of room.
Right. And a second bathroom. Yeah. That's convenient.
It works for when we're all three together, and when he's with us, we tend to spend a little more time in the room. So because of that, because of the way those rooms are, because of the way that the curvature is of that resort, those rooms, they kind of start off more narrow and they widen out as you go out. So you get a lot more space there. So that's why those are really,
especially
really
in the living area, because a lot of the other resorts, they're 2 bedrooms. Half of the space is going to one of the bedrooms and the other half is the living area. So it's the living room area is not as spacious over as, like you said, the wideness of how it expands. It gives you much more area for the living room.
So yeah, I'd be thrilled to be there with just us two, but also especially when it's Scott with us for that extra space and because he enjoys it so much. But if it's just the two of us, I'll go with the Polynesian because I think the Polynesian has so many wonderful, magical aspects to it. One, we have fond memories of our life of going to Hawaii many, many times, and we've spent many, many great years going to Hawaii, and that kind of brings a lot of that back to us because it has that feel. But it's so magical in so many ways. I already talked about in the morning getting up and sitting out there and looking over Seven Seas Lagoon and watching the ferries and seeing Magic Kingdom in the distance, being able to, if you have a theme park view, or even if you just want to walk out on the beach, watching the fireworks go off at night is spectacular. Walking the grounds in the evening, we talked about running and walking areas. The evenings at the Polynesian with the tiki torches lit and everything and all the life, the flora, the fauna, just so gorgeous. It is such a wonderful space just to walk around, and romantic space to walk around in at night. It does have wonderful places to get fabulous drinks and wonderful food as well. It really hits across a lot of notes of things that I enjoy. So if it's just the two of us and maybe we're looking for more of a romantic night or a romantic stay, the Polynesian might take an edge over Bay Lake Towers in that regard to me. I still think Bay Lake Towers is probably my favorite, but Polynesian, there's a lot to love about it.
Right. Absolutely. And we did have some questions in the hat that talked about families and kids and things. None of them, we didn't seem to draw any of them, but I do think the Polynesian resort also has some very fun and unique activities that the kids can do throughout the day or into the evening. And so I think that it's a great experience no matter what size or age group your party is to stay there.
Yeah, and we will many of these, again, we will keep these around and we will revisit them in the future because this is not going to be the last time we do this. It's a great topic to discuss.
Yeah.
I think it's a great topic for you to think about. What are your favorite resorts? Why are we completely wrong because we're bougie and we're BBC on and or why are we completely right? But again, there is no right or wrong. It's what's your personal favorite. Just because something is our favorite doesn't mean it has to be yours, and just because something is yours doesn't mean that it has to be ours. It's all it's all relative. It's all personal to yourself. And you may have, a lot of this is nostalgia too. I talked about, when we first went back to the poly when COVID was going on, and how there's something involved with that it brings back wonderful memories as well. We can still, to this day, I hear that fairy horn and it brings me right back to that day. And I think it's very special. Some people are like, that horn, it goes too early in the morning, wakes me up. I don't need it. To me, it's like, oh, that's just so comforting to me.
Yeah.
So,
well, similar when you're saying about that horn, I remember that horn from when I was a child and first going to Disney World, and we didn't get to go very often. But hearing the horn, the whistle of the ship as it was getting ready to bring people over to the Magic Kingdom, I remember that so much as a kid, thinking, oh, I'm at a very special place and I'm going to get to go into the park. And so same kind of thing. It does have that nostalgic vibe for me, and like we said, when I was talking about the walking paths, my mother was in her 80s when I think maybe it was 70s, but when we did the walk, and we just all had a great time. And just so many great memories. But the wonderful thing is that there are so many options for you, so many ranges of price, and they all offer very positive, fun, unique things. And even with the value resorts, you still get so many, and I know we talked about this in an episode one time about value resorts, you still get all the same kind of perks that the others have, in the sense of, your transportation, knowing that you're going to have a very wonderful, clean room, that you're going to have food options to have for you. I think the early entry into the parks for staying at the resorts.
Great Disney customer service from the wonderful cast members.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you're not having all the other bells and whistles of some of the other larger resorts, the moderate or the deluxe, but you still get so many of the foundational perks.
Right. Agreed. And we touched on virtually every. We touched on moderates, we touched on deluxes, we touched on values in this, that we enjoy aspects of all of them, and we've stayed in all of them, and we enjoy all of them. And maybe, like I said, I've mentioned it again, we're a little bougie because we're DVC members and we use our points for those. And part of the reason buying into it is because we are that way. But that doesn't mean we don't love and respect and think that the other Disney resorts, the value resorts, the moderates are special. Apparently, Michelle needs us to get back to a moderate resort because we need to start booking a Port Orleans stay soon.
Yes. But we also have our some nostalgia too with the All-Star Sports. That was our first Disney resort stay experience together, was there.
And we've stayed at All-Star Movies. One thing we haven't stayed at is Art of Animation or Pop yet.
Right.
I'd love to stay there at some point as well, and to get those experiences.
Right, exactly.
So, again, love to know your favorites. Again, these are just our favorites. I'm sure yours differ, but we'd love to hear what you think and what would yours to fit all these categories. And we will be doing this again somewhere in the future to kind of explore more on why our favorite Walt Disney World resorts might be. Right, Michelle?
Exactly.
So that is our favorites from Walt Disney World resorts.